Hello, bonjour everybody. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching my video, and special thanks to those who subscribe to my channel. In today's video, we'll talk about a game called Panzer, made by GMT. On this video, I will try to explain two phases from the sequence of play, the movement phase and the adjustment phase. So let's start with the movement phase. So basically, as I'm learning the game, I make also those YouTube videos to kind of prove my learning. So basically, if someone watch the video and know the game and I make a mistake, I hope he would place a comment below and tell me where did I miss so I can correct myself and learn properly the game. And for those who never play the game, who would like to learn the game, can follow each step and learn the basic rules for the game. So let's talk about the next sequence of play. It's the movement phase. So when it's time to move, after the firing, everybody complete the firing phase, we go on the sequence of play. It shows movement phase is the next sequence of play. And for us, close assault, it doesn't impact us because we play the basic rules. We go to movement and overrun combat step. So we're going to use overrun combat is advance. So movement step, the second player start, and then followed by the first player. So what you need to know when you do that. First, you need to know what are the movement allowed for each vehicle. So the way to do that is two places you can look at it. One is when you look on the table, the Panzer 4J, having the bottom of the token, the first number is 4, so that's a number, I would not call number of X it can move, but a number of point to move. Second is a letter T for track. You're going to see, depending if it is off track, it's going to have a T. If there's a wheel, it would say W on it. And infantry is going to be a letter L. And it will make sense why it is important to have it further down the step-by-step to do the movement phase. Then you get the number 6. That's the number of points if you decide to drive into a path. Number 9, if you choose to run the vehicle into a road. And you saw in the previous video when we talk about the terrain, what looked like a path, like here, and a road, it looked like an asphalt gray road, a bit bigger than the path itself. Also, when you look at the data card, you can see M for movement, 4069. The other one we don't really need for the basic rules. So what's next? You know how many points you have to move? And how can you use them? We go to the game card A. So the game card A, it's A. You come to the terrain effect. For it, we need to look at the type of terrain. And here, the last 3 columns of the terrain effect, it gives you L for infantry, T and H for tank or half track, and W for wheel. And they give you the number of points that it is to use in that particular X. So if we take this vehicle here, the Panzer 4, he have a movement of 4 points. And he need to move forward. Or he can turn 1 X at a per movement. Otherwise, if you want to turn more than 1 X, it would cost him 1 point. Now, actually, I'd say before we go further than that, is regardless the fact that a movement token on top of the vehicle, you do not have the obligation to move. And you don't have the obligation to move the maximum point allowed. So when it's your time in the movement phase, the one with the movement token or the fire short alt token on top of the vehicle, they can move, they can stay, or they can partially move. So in this case, for example, he wants to move, he has 4 movement points. So I'm going to make him turn a bit, so he's not costing any point, and he wants to go on the hill. For that, because it's a hill, there's a slope. So when we come over here, and the slope, crest, costs a +1. So using the slope it's 1 point, and get to the next X, it's 1 point. So we've spent 2 points. Now we can decide to turn it again, go straight, or stay where he is. In this case, for example, you want to reach the top of the hill. You may turn 1x, no point cost. There's another slope to get to the top, so 3, and you reach at 4. But because he reached like that, he can only turn 1x again. But that completes his movement for this vehicle. So that's the basic. You're here. You may turn. It doesn't cost. The slope is 1 point. And you go on the hill. Hill, it's other because it's all depend if it's prohibited or they have special rule that apply. In this case, it's only 1 point. He turned, it costs nothing. Or he could have stayed there and just turned this way. So it would be on the hill. It costs him 2 points to reach. And he turned for free. The next vehicle that can do movement. So when all the German troops, who is the second player, did all this movement, we go to the first player, turn. Now, a vehicle that have a fire short halt, those also can move. And when we look at the T-34, you got a 6T M12. So in this case, he have 6 points to move. It's a tri-vehicle, 8-12. So he's going to do his movement. But because he fired before, there's kind of a penalty. So in the basic rule, short alt has only half of the point. So in this case, 6 become 3. So you have 3 points for movement. So let's say he wants to enter the forest over here. He may turn. It's no point cost. And this is the forest. So we come over here in the terrain effect. We look at the wood. And the wood, we move. And the track costs 3 points. So to enter the wood, it will cost him 3 points. Because it's a short alt, we divide the 6 by 2. It's 3 points. Enter the wood, we'll use all his points. It may turn 1x, and 1x would be like here. He cannot turn all the way here. So it may be side like that, if he chooses to. When he's done, he just changes his fire to spot move over his vehicle. So to enter, it costs, the wood is 3 points, as we can see in the terrain effect. So he entered and he moved 1x, and that's complete his move. And it's really important to read it here, and after a while that you play, it's probably going to be easy, and you're going to know by heart that if you enter light wood, it's 2 points. So light wood, there's none around here on the map. Oh yes, here this is light wood, so it's 2 points. Now the third option, or the third vehicle it can move, is a vehicle that has been damaged in the previous turn. And his order was to move. Then, like for the short halt, his points are cut in half. So we look at that vehicle, and it is a 3. So he can move up to 3 points. In this case, he may decide, okay, I'm going to turn 1x, so there's no penalty. I want to go in the stream bed. So we look into it, stream, we toss, and it said for a track vehicle, it costs 4 points. And he has only 3 points, so he cannot enter, technically. But into the game, they are specific. If you don't have the amount of points, you cannot enter the next X. But you can always move 1X if you choose to. So in this case, even if the cost is 4 points and he has only 3 points, because you can only move, or the game allows you to move at least minimum 1X, he may decide to move 1X in the water. And then he can also turn. That's how I do understand. So if you are pointing in a direction, you can turn to 1x, or in the direction of the next x, but cannot do 2x turn. If you choose to move, because it's been damaged, it's half the point, and he has 6 points, he finds himself with a 3 point to move. Because it costs 4 points, technically he cannot enter the riverbed, but in the game rules, even for the basic, they permit a movement of 1x regardless the amount of points it costs to enter it. So the fact is 4x, and you have only 3, but you haven't moved yet. They allow you to move 1x, but that's it, you're complete. And I believe you can turn 1x as well in your movement phase. So that's the basic. A movement has a certain amount of point for your vehicle. And for the case of 4T, he gets 4 points. He can turn the vehicle 1x on his movement, but using the terrain effect, you look at the type of terrain inside the X, and here it will tell you how many points it costs to enter that X. In the case of this, when you use short halt or damaged vehicle, the number of points allowed is cut by half. If this vehicle was short halt and damaged, then it cut by half and by half, so it becomes a quarter. So instead of 6, it would be allowed to 2. 6 divided by 4, that's 2 or 1. I have to check my math, but it's 1/4, so it's 1 point something. So we be allowed to move only 1x. If you decide to stay on the path, a damaged vehicle would be allowed to move 4x, so he move 1. It can turn 2, he can turn 1, 3, and 4. If it is damaged and short halt, 8 divided by 1/4, it's 2, so will it be 1 and 2? Then you can turn 1x. If he had only one, because he go off-road, 6 divided by 4 1/4, so it's 1, he could add enter the stream, even though it's 4 point, because he's allowed to move at least 1x. When he completes his move, he change, let's say he move over here, we change his fire move spot for move spot. And that complete his turn. So that complete the sequence of play, the moving phase, while everybody move. The next sequence of play is a second air phase. We don't use that in the basic rules. The 8 adjustment, when we look at pivot step, adjust turret step, adjust full cover step, adjust remove suppression step, it's all referred to rules. That is more advanced rules with those paragraphs 6, 7, 6, 6. Adjust remove counter step and end turn step are the only 2 left. So adjust remove counter step is basically you go through each. He did his move or did not move at all. You remove the movement command. You make sure that the spotting is placed on move in the direction the tank is aiming. We do the same for each one. So we remove the command and we make sure he did not move, and he just shoot. So the spotting token will show fire spotting. The same with that one, we can remove the command and place the move spotting. This one, it's the move forward. Overwatch did not shoot, so we can remove it. There's no effect, so it is, say like that, this one, remove the command, fire stop. This one, it showed damage, and it did move, so move spotting. All of them, that complete the adjustment phase. So basically, we make sure that we remove all the token that is not used anymore, and the proper token for movement and spotting. The spotting, move, fire are placed on the different vehicle. Just that one here, I'm not too sure. Let's say he did not move, but he had the moving, so we put the spot move, I will assume, even if it doesn't move. I might be wrong in here, but it doesn't say, well, I don't think I read it, what would be the token for that, or we just remove the token like this. But I will assume we put the spot move token. So that complete this tutorial for the movement step or movement phase. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you see I make a mistake or I give the wrong information, please leave a comment below. It would be much appreciated. This completes all my tutorial for the basic rule. You have every sequence of play overlook, or I should say look at, so that gives you a good idea how to play the game. Now, even if the rules look a bit like difficult to understand and learn, I believe when you start to play, it will not take you long to know most of the rules and make it easy to play the game. So thank you for watching. Hope you see you soon with my next video. And I think what would be my next video will be first scenario. It's a tank against tank. They're gonna start to play and see how it goes. So thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.